Welcome to the Sport and Society Squad pod, aka the SASS. Each week, we bring you 3 sport or society stories to break down and give you our sassiest takes. With those sassy takes, we do want to give you a content warning that some of the language used on the pod may be explicit. We ask that you please just be mindful of where you are listening and who you are listening with. With that, let's get into it. I'm here with my co-hosts, Wahida and Chelsea. What is good, friends?
What's good is I got glicked this weekend.
Oh, shit.
God. Can we
Explain it to the
what
listeners?
glicked
Because
means?
did you get glicked or
because
get
now
licked?
that I think it's actually glicked is the but I've been saying glicked.
You went and got glicked?
But I got glicked. That means that I saw the double feature this Saturday of Gladiator 2 and Wicked, and I'm dead. Both were everything.
Is it called Gladiator 2 or it's just the recreation?
No,
of
it's Gladiator 2.
It's Gladiator 2.
Oh, so it's
How
like
dare you? How
don't you dare? Neither of you have actually even seen the original Gladiator, so
It's fair.
get off my...
Touche.
You don't need to win Paul Mescal's number 2, you know?
That's fair.
What do you need to know? There was a lot. I will tell you this. There was a lot of flashbacks. So I felt very in the know.
Okay.
Okay, that was his dad. So yeah, I got glicked. But anyways, about how I'm doing, and it's just the usual. So I think that before we get into the playbook, I just want to take a quick moment to do a huddle and cover a few sport and society stories outside of getting glicked with our listeners so they feel like they're in the know with the sports and pop culture world. So before we get going, I'm going to do some highlights. So for sports, in college basketball, UConn women's basketball head coach Gino... Anyone want to help me out with that last name?
I only call him Gino.
Yeah, he's the Gino.
He's Gino.
We'll call him Gino. Our good friend Gino from UConn set a new record with an all-time NCAA... What?
Yeah, all-time NCAA Division I wins in basketball history.
Wins in... Okay, my bad. So clearly I'm not into sports the way that y'all are. But they set a record for amount of wins in D1 basketball history.
That's it.
And as a coach, he's won 1,217 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
the most.
Insane.
Wild.
And it's apparently the most by a
It's the
coach.
record.
So go off, Gene. In WNBA.
You and Gino wanting to cut Gino to Gene. It just doesn't work.
His name isn't short enough. We need to make it shorter. Live,
Just
love.
G.
And Coach G. I love it. In WNBA news, Lynn Roberts has been named the new head coach of the Los Angeles Sparks, the team announced, and she was the Utah women's basketball head coach in 2015. Can I read? The Utes?
Utes.
The Utes.
Like Utah, but Utes.
That's insane.
So
that's
clever.
what they call people from Utah are Utes?
I don't know.
That's what they call
That's what they call the basketball
school. Their mascot.
yeah.
It must be what they call the people of Utah. Don't even get me started on how some people in Michigan are called Michiganders. That's a conversation for another day. So go Utes. Well, no, don't go Utes. Go the Sparks. Anyways, in NBA news, Tyrese Maxey reportedly called out Joel
Embiid.
again. Help
Embiid.
Embiid for always being late. I feel like you guys could say that about me. In the meeting, Maxey challenged Embiid to be on time to team activities, calling out the former league MVP about being late for everything and how it impacts the locker room. Oh my God, from other players and coaching staff? That is some drama.
Oh, well,
He's also the one.
Yeah,
he's also the one
drama.
that's always load managing. He never is playing a game. Said earlier in the career that in the season that he wouldn't play back-to-back games this season.
Yeah.
And then he's late to everything?
And then he's late to everything.
Well, I won't do that to you guys.
And then Yeah.
Okay, so maybe not a huge fan of Joel. Whatever, Joel. In MLB news, the Hall of Fame ballot nominees was released, and some of our favorite local faves, such as Ichiro Suzuki and Felix Hernandez, were on the list. Go Mariners!
Go
A's! And then in soccer news, the Orlando Pride won their first ever National Women's Soccer League title. So hallelujah to them. Congrats.
Yes.
That's huge. Oh my God. I love that was their... And they beat the New York team. That's wild. Right? Or was I just
No.
obsessed with their name?
You were
That's
just
on
obsessed
me.
with their
You
name.
know what? Cut that out. The Orlando Pride
We
deserve all
won't.
the attention.
Too much
and
editing.
I think I was just obsessed with the name of the New York team. That's on me.
Is it Gotham?
Gotham is the New
Yes,
York team.
I was
right.
like, that is sick. I think that they were the defending champs, if I'm going to give myself any credit here. But anyways, the Major League Soccer, so the men's soccer league cup conference finals are set. So the number 4 seeds, Seattle Sounders, will take on the number 2 seed, the LA Galaxy, in Saturday's Western Conference bout, while the number 4 Orlando City SC will face the number 7 New York Red Bull. Wow, the Red Bulls in Saturday's Eastern Conference. Again, I'm thinking Chicago, so that's a little confusing.
My favorite thing is making Chelsea read the sports highlights without
Yeah.
having read it beforehand.
No
I feel like
context,
it's just
nothing.
no context, just entertaining for us
because
and
it's
probably
straight up
everyone.
news to me. It's absolute news. Like,
Just
I've
like,
not heard it.
what?
I'm going to be
but
honest, never heard any of these. Anyways, continue.
shout out to our Sounders.
Yeah.
That's exciting. And then also Orlando is having a moment in soccer, I guess.
Yeah, they really kind of
Good for
are.
them.
Good for Orlando.
Nothing else happens
and
there, I guess.
No, and not even Orlando Bloom. So in society, we wanted to highlight that Kendrick Lamar dropped a surprise album, GNX, and he was also officially named Apple's Music Rapper of the Year for 2024, and helped several LA rappers earn their first Spotify Global Chart entries, which is amazing. And honestly,
Really cool.
have either of you listened to the new album?
No.
Yeah. I'm hyped.
Okay.
I will. I just
I've only
haven't had
listened to half.
time. Okay.
I think that after this, you'll have to rock it.
I will.
So give it a
It might-
listen, everyone.
It might push you through the week, Arisan. It might give
Yeah.
you
It's
the
gonna give
energy to get you
you-
through the week.
And I haven't gotten to the song yet, but mustard is
Yeah.
a huge thing. And I feel like that will really resonate with you. Also in society news, Jason and Kelsey shared the news that they are expecting baby number 4. And they also shared that it's a girl. So I
Wow.
keep seeing all of these memes of like Jason Kelsey and his AKA Little Women. I kind of love that for him. It's kind of cute. So congrats to the Kelsey fam. And then Pamela Hayden, who voices Milhouse on The Simpsons, is retiring after 35 years with the show. There's nothing against The Simpsons. I'm not a huge fan, but this seemed to rock some of those people who do subscribe.
Well,
so
35 years is a long time. She
It's a long-
raised a lot of people, I feel.
35
Milhouse.
years of them. Yeah, apparently. A Nonsense Christmas with Sabrina Carpenter, a holiday variety music special, will stream exclusively on Netflix Friday, December 6th at 6 p.m. So mark your calendars because you know I'm going to be watching that. Pretty sure she's going to have Chapel Roan. There were other people and I'm forgetting them, but she's going to have other stars. So like really, really tune into that.
Not just singers, right? I feel like she has some sketch artists on there too.
Yeah, she also has oh my god, why am I blanking? Quinta Brunson.
Mhm.
She'll be there. I love it. There was a meme that like her and Sabrina Carpenter standing next to each other were Flav Flav finalists. Like if that show was still on, like those two. That took me out.
He commented. He said,
"What
it
did
too.
he said something
He was
really
like,
crazy."
Somebody said they looked like they were about to be up for elimination, and he was like, "No, final 2, obviously."
It's just
Flavor
so freaking
Flav.
funny. I love it. It's weird, but I love it. And then more society news. Dancing with the Stars finale will be airing this Tuesday. So it's Monday when we're recording, November 26th. So we don't know yet, but it will be coming out. When this comes out, you will know who the winner is. So check it out. Tell us what your thoughts are on who wins the Mirror Ball trophy, because there's 4 final groups.
That's more than any other year, right?
I'm pretty positive, but I don't think they wanted to eliminate anybody. Like the 4 final groups, like they just loved them, you know? So I don't know. And then Andre 3000 just confirmed that he'll be dropping new music this year. So that's huge.
Well, here's the question. Is he dropping another meditation album, or are we going to get, classic Andre 3000 again?
These are beautiful questions.
I feel like he's just in his musical era where he's like, I'm going to try everything because
I
know
want.
I can. Yeah.
I support that heavily.
I remember one time Childish Gambino said that. He's like, I'm going to play the game until I get enough money and famous enough so then I can make whatever I want artistically. And I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect it. Yeah. Well, I love to read this one. Ariana Grande Butera becomes the first artist to have a #1 song, album, and movie in the United States this year. So first person to ever do that in 1 year, which, did I ever doubt her? No, I didn't.
Wait, since when is Butera added at the end of her name?
Well, it's always been her name, but she's not gone by it professionally.
But
and she added
now.
it. She just added it with the Wicked film.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the credits, she's listed as Butera.
I kind of love it for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go off, queen. And then Thursday, the day that this pod is dropping, is Thanksgiving, and we just wanted to hope that you're doing something fun to celebrate, whether it's just some personal time with friends or family, but just want to say we're thankful for our listeners.
Yeah, we are. Thank you. Oh, Chelsea, thank you for taking us through that huddle, because it is one of my favorite things to hear you go through the sports updates. But let's get into today's playbook. We have quite a few fun topics to go through. First, we're going to start by giving a breakdown on the NBA All-Star Game Makeover. We'll discuss the differing stadium entry guidelines and safety rules that I feel like are always changing for some reason. And then lastly, we'll finish the episode with a good old NFL update. But with that, I'm going to kick us off with the first topic. As you all know, last week, if you listened, we talked about the NBA's attempt to infuse some excitement into the season with their in-season tournament. Well, obviously things are not looking very great for the NBA right now, because they're working on their way through the season and are trying to resuscitate now the All-Star Game, which happens in February. Because over the last few years, if we're being completely honest, it's been a complete snooze fest, thumbs down, 2 thumbs down.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, players barely try. The competitiveness, I feel like, is non-existent. They're just like jogging up and down the court. They're not really playing the game. And even the commissioner called last year's game a really big disappointment. And we had some really big names, right? You have Steph, you have LeBron, you have all the big all-stars. So for 2025, this upcoming year, they're going to try to shake things up with a tournament style, like March Madness, Park Playground, like Blacktop Showdown. Yeah. So here's how that's going to look. There are going to be 3 all-star teams of 8 players each. They'll all go through the same voting process. So that's all fan and I think industry folks that are voting. And then they will join a 4th squad, which is the rookies and sophomores who win the Rising Stars game, which I feel can be a little embarrassing if you lose to them, especially as a career seasoned all-star player.
Maybe they need to be shamed if they're giving us boring games.
Very true. But the semifinal games will go to 40 points. So they're playing to a point. And then the championship will hit a target of 25. So they're trying to keep it like quick and fast and short and sweet, and hopefully more intense. But again, we have to talk about why they're trying to change it. The short answer, I feel like, is nobody cared about the old format. Like the winners would win $100,000 if they won the game. But obviously that's a drop in the bucket for somebody who's making millions of dollars. So they were like, it's nice if we win it. We don't really care if we do. So this year they worked with Steph Curry. Right. Right. So this year they worked with Steph Curry. One day, hopefully. But this year they worked with Steph Curry. One more time.
You can do it.
3 times the charm.
This year they worked with Steph Curry, who is obviously part of the Golden State Warriors. That's where the All-Star Game is being held this year. So, and he's been a long time All-Star, and he is really competitive and, values the game. So he wants to help kind of bring more excitement to it as well, and co-signed this whole new process. But I feel like this is my hot take. I don't know if you all agree, and I would love to hear your opinion. But I feel like doesn't matter how much they change up the game, like, it won't fix the root issue. I feel like the All-Stars are going to play for championships, right? Like, they are in the league. They want to get the big prize. And if it doesn't impact that standing, then I don't think it would really matter to any of them. So I feel like they should bring back the Eastern Conference versus Western Conference game style. And whoever wins, like, the winning conference will get home court advantage in the finals or the playoffs.
Oh,
I
that's
feel like
kinda
that
cool.
is what they should do.
Ooh.
Like higher stakes,
Ooh.
right?
Clip
Because
it,
even
clip
like,
it. Let's start promoting this and
Yeah.
pitch it, and we'll take 100K, please.
Yeah.
it's just those are just my thoughts. But what do you guys think? Do you think this is a good evolution, or do we feel like it's just a stupid band-aid that is not going to really help much?
Time will tell. I think a little bit of a band-aid. Though I will say the women's all-star game last year was amazing, and
So
they
much more
are actually
fun.
getting so much more fun and getting better viewership than the men's in proportion. But they did it last year, which I don't think they can do it. The men's couldn't do it this year. But I liked how they had the Team USA, the Olympians on one team, and then the people that didn't make the Olympic team.
That's cool.
So then there was this like Team WNBA, Team Olympics, and then the Team WNBA one was like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You didn't select me for the
juicy.
Olympics. So like, I think having some sort of
Actual competition.
where it's a little bit of prides on the thing, because as a player, I don't blame them for not wanting to give your all the all-star, because you also don't want to get hurt for a game
That's
that means
true.
nothing
Yeah.
in the lead, kind of in the lead up towards getting closer to playoffs. So as a player, I don't really care about I wouldn't care about the all-star game. I don't really care about the all-star game as a fan either. I
viewer.
mean, the bet as a viewer, like I gives two shits whether or not who wins the all-star game. I think what I tune into most is like the dunk contest, which I feel like has kind of been like lacking also.
Yeah.
And I also really love the celebrity
That's the
all-star
fun
game.
one.
That's like
Yeah.
fun.
Love.
Like ideal one day I would love to be in that game. I had to be a celebrity first, but I
Out
love
in the universe.
We're
putting
working
it out
towards
there.
Listen up, universe.
And did your lip stain tell you that? Or
Yeah.
sorry.
So yeah, we'll see about this play-in. It will be interesting too, because they're having the play-in tournament already, the in-season tournament, and then having also all-star with a semi-season tournament. I don't know. Well,
It'll be
TBD,
interesting.
I guess. Yeah.
I would love to see the rookies and the sophomores, the rising stars,
That
just
sounds cool.
beat everyone
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
their assets. Because I feel like they play hard, right? They're young. They're coming into the league new, and they want to prove themselves. So I feel like even those guys play a little bit harder than the more tenured folks, which understandably, they're older. They are gonna probably be more likely to get hurt. So I understand why they wouldn't play as hard, especially mid-season.
Yeah, I don't know enough, I feel like, to have a very strong opinion, but if I'm taking it from way out here, it feels like a lot of this is just like a band-aid. I think the games of you're going to a point seem fun, but I don't know if I'd tune in for that every year. I feel like it's be cool this year. I don't know if that would keep getting me, and that also feels like it's kind of pandering to the whole social media, everything needs to be quick, emergent, new of it all. So I feel like that's a complete band-aid, but this is fucked up because I couldn't handle this. It needs to be a psychological reason on why they will be playing hard, and maybe we need to shame. Maybe it needs to be what you're talking about, where you have Team USA versus WNBA team. That will get people your pride is on the line, and
It's
so
true.
I 100% immediately was I'm sorry, we need to knock people down. They might be having the best season of their life. I mean, you lost this game. What was going on? This is shit that would be funny. And it's awful, but I also just watched Gladiator, and they were watching people just get killed. That was their entertainment. So apparently, let's bring an element of that back. No one's dying, but they're right. That's how I'm feeling about it. Sorry, I had to wipe my nose. Really got bad allergies today.
Yeah, I mean, it will be interesting to see, but I agree, some sort of competitive edge is what that is, because when it's just a bunch of all-stars that are making a fuck ton of money, there's no competitive edge there, and so having them play against the youngins, I think that's a good one. And it would be interesting. I don't know if they could do this, but it would be interesting if also it could impact their contracts in some way. That was like maybe too much.
High stakes.
But I'm like, it could, something that makes it
are there bonuses or something within contract? Like there's something if like the rookies beat you, then like you don't get
they get a
they get a portion of like one of your bonuses or something,
or they donate to something, or you know, like that, like. Or I'm like, what if you had to play a whole game non-dominant hand? I know that they're both probably good, but like you have to go full. Like if there's calls, oh sorry, switch to right, you know, or switch to left, you're done.
Okay, basketball coach Chels. Yeah. But some constraint-led approach is what that's called. I like it.
Ooh,
I don't know what that is, but let's
like
bring it in. I'm like, I was just, you know, using terms. I don't know. I could talk about it all day, truly. But I think I'm going to transition us to our next topic. And you guys, this is kind of a crazy one. I'm just going to be really honest with you, because while I was writing my notes, I'm just going to be so transparent to the community of our listeners. I may have switched my opinion. I don't know. I still feel like there's a lot going on. I talked myself out of being angry about it. Angry. I still think there's room for improvement. There always is with every project.
Lay it on us.
So lay it on you. Okay. So a couple weeks ago, I was at brunch, as I do, and I was talking with the girly pops about like the podcast and everything and like what we talk about on it. And we started talking about just like how sometimes a barrier of sports in general is like a literal barrier of getting inside of the stadium, which is like what you can and cannot bring into a stadium. And our opinions before doing any research, it feels like there are different rules for every stadium. And to be fair, after some perusing, there are different rules, at least in our city, between the three major stadiums, which is Lumen Field for the Seahawks, Climate Pledge for NHL, oh my God,
and WNBA.
And exactly. And then what T-Mobile Park, because it was for so long something else. And I'm sorry, I'm wiping my nose on camera. We're doing it. So whatever. We're talking about that, right? So it feels like there's a barrier. I always am like, can I bring a bag or can I can't? And I'm not arguing that people should be able to bring whatever the fuck they want in there. They shouldn't. Right. Like there is a real safety element. You got to keep the people safe. You got to keep the players safe. But am I confused every time? Yes. And do I feel like I need to shove things in pockets of my husband's pants because I don't always have pockets on the clothes that I have? Yes. Do I feel that? I was also talking to one of the girly pops and she was sharing that she had, have you ever heard of a birdie?
I have, but explain it for the listeners who might not have.
So if you haven't, because I hadn't, it's just like a little safety device that you can put in a bag or you can like put it on like a belt loop or whatever. And basically it's there for you to like hit if someone attacks you, is too close for you. It makes crazy noise and it's supposed to just like alert people around you for your safety. She had it in her bag to go, and I'm not going to say what stadium, to go to a game, and it was an evening game.
I feel like we should call out the stadiums.
I can't. I don't want to. No. Okay, I love going to that one particularly.
Oh, you think you're going to get banned?
Yeah, I can't. I'm like,
just sorry, you spoke bad about our bag policy. You're
Yeah, maybe. What if they're just like, you will never another bag of yours will never make it in here, though they do have strict bag policies. Anyways, do. She had a birdie in there. And they were like, sorry, gotta throw that away now. Like she couldn't keep her like safety item. And I get it because when I read the rules, you can't bring anything that makes these noises or anything. So I understand why, but it just like sucks, right? Like at least with the Seahawks. So I guess we know it's not Lumen Field. Like they have lockers, right? That still sucks, but like at least you have an option. I don't know if this place had an option, but she just like legitimately had to throw her birdie away and then had to just like walk back in the dark. As a woman, I just was like, what is the difference between our sports like arenas? So I went and looked. I'm not going to read all these because it's a lot of like dimensions. And I, again, don't know how you both feel. When there's dimensions, I can't see that. I don't know what that means. So I need pictures. But basically my takeaway from the three stadiums in just Washington that are big for big pro sports, you can bring one bag into Climate Pledge, but it's bigger than the bags that you can bring into both T-Mobile and Lumen Field.
That's not true.
If that's what it says per the
it has
the
to be
rules
clear
on there.
though. It has to be clear.
You're talking about a clear one, because non-clear ones are smaller.
Yeah, the non-clear ones have to be a certain size.
Yeah, non-clear ones are even smaller.
Well, you can bring one clear bag into Climate Pledge, but that one clear bag is a bigger dimension than the one clear bag that you can bring into the other two stadiums.
Yeah,
and then you
wild.
But then why non-clear bags are smaller than the amount?
But you cannot bring. You can only bring the small clutch. Like the other places, I believe you can still bring another. You can bring a backpack as long as it's a certain. It doesn't have to be clear as long as it's a certain size. But you cannot do that in Climate Pledge at all. So there's a backpack discrepancy going on. It's just one thing that I was picking up on. And then let's see. There's also, that was just like the main one. The other ones were pretty consistent, I'm going to be honest with you. So like, it felt like a lot to me. I also am just not like really tuned in to like, I'm not going to all these stadiums that often, if we're being clear.
Yeah.
But that was just one difference that I noticed in Washington. But then I was like curious, like, it feels like there's rules from like MLB or NHL to the stadiums of like what it should be consistent across all stadiums. But I was like, let's test that theory. So I went to the AT&T Stadium website for where the Dallas Cowboys play. And here's just one thing. It's not really bags, but this was different. In Texas, they don't let you bring in any seat cushions at all. So it was like a whole list of things you can't bring. You can't bring seat cushions. I don't know. Does their stadium have just cushion seats for everybody? I don't
Probably
know.
not.
I don't know. My nose is just running right on camera. But in Lumen Field, you can bring in a seat cushion if it's soft-sided. So I guess if you're a hardcore fan and you go to every game, you just learn the rules. But for me, trying to figure out what is appropriate when, at what venue, and if it's soft-sided, hard-sided, clear, and what dimension, it's just a pretty big barrier for me to even get in the door. And I get it. I'm not saying it's not important. We should be protecting everybody. But could we just all come together and make one
consistent
bag policy for every sport?
Yeah,
for every stadium.
What do you think?
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree because one, I have been hesitant because I hate them so much to actually purchase a clear bag, but it's starting to get to the point where I have to, and I guess because you were talking about this, I need to go to the stadium and get the smallest size one because it sounds like they are different. But because I just recently went to Climate Pledge for the Usher concert, and it was
one more time.
Crazy.
Why did you go there?
Concert. Usher,
baby.
He touched me. He touched me.
Oh, that sounded weird.
Yeah.
Literally.
He glicked you.
He glicked me.
Oh my God.
Anyways, it got me all excited over here.
Watch me get a cease and desist. Anyways.
But what was crazy with Climate Pledge, because I don't have a clear bag, and also having a clear bag to go to a sporting event, sure. Having a clear bag when you're going to like a concert,
when you're dressed,
when you're dressed all up, it's not quite the vibe. And their small bag policy is insane. It's like pretty much it's smaller than your phone. It's smaller than your phone size. It's like your credit card size. Yeah. And so then that means what I was wearing, I had no pockets in anything that I was wearing. So I just was carrying my phone around because I had my wallet on the back of my phone. But my friend I went with, she had just a credit card and stuff loose, and she ended up losing it because her pocket was like unzipped and it like whatever. They were able to find it. But like, thank God I wasn't on my period, that I didn't have to like bring in tampons. I had to just commit that my lipstick was going to hold all night, or it wasn't, because I didn't have pockets to put. So for me, it feels a little like it's attacking women with the bag policy. And if they could just make it like, I don't understand how index card size and a hand size is really that much different as far as security wise of like letting things to go in. When some guys' wallets are bigger than that.
It's true.
And like, they got the big old pockets, or like phones are bigger than that. So like, if I can't have a purse where I can actually put my phone in, then what's the point of a little clutch in a purse? And so I think that's where it's like, come on. You're trying to set like a barrier for women is what it feels like to me. So
it really does feel like that. let's talk about like this is the hugest beef of the week. Like this whole topic is a beef of the week for us. But I agree with everything that you all have said because I was caught off guard by the like index card size dimension because I went in and I've gone to different arenas and stuff with my Lululemon crossbody. And that's the size of a 5x8 index card, right? It's not very big at all. It barely fits my phone, plus like the other things I need to carry, like feminine hygiene products if I need it, things of that sort. And I had gone to this arena with this same bag before. And then I go and they're like, no, they pull out an index card that is the smallest little thing. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? I have like, feminine hygiene products in there. Like I don't have really any pockets because it's summertime in Seattle. I'm not carrying, I'm not in a jacket or anything. And I like almost got into an argument with the security person because I was like, what do you mean?
Of course you did.
I was just like, what do you mean? I've gotten in here with this exact bag before. And I've seen people actually toss their bags straight directly into a garbage can.
What?
And I've seen people leave their bags outside of the arena, like tuck it away under a bush. And that's not safe either. Because they're like, I'm not throwing away my bag, but I can't go back to my car or I didn't take a car there. So it's just all like, I feel like haphazard all the way around, especially because folks are having to either get rid of their bags and make that decision, or they hide it somewhere where they can get things stolen too. And these games let out really late, like you said, Chelsea, and it's not the safest to just be digging around in a bush trying to find my bag in the dark. You know what I mean? Like that's not cool either. But like you said, Harrison, I feel like it's also in that regard critical to have diversity in all aspects of the game, even down to the fan experience, because I really think that the folks that define these rules and these policies are not thinking about women who have to carry
they're not defying gravity.
Like, the clothes aren't even made for us to put things in our pockets, right? And I need something to carry all of my stuff, and I can't do that. And if you are going to prevent folks from bringing things in, such as like feminine hygiene products and stuff, offer them at the game, especially like at WNB game. Like free ones, because they're not free either. Like you have to purchase them. If you're gonna require me to throw mine away or put mine aside, you should be able to like offer it up for me as well. So
decent ones. Don't give me this cardboard crap.
Yeah, the cardboard. But yeah, like at that game, I like walked in. I just had a handful of tampons and I threw it in the little bin. I was like, "Here you go." Like,
just throw it in their face.
I don't have a bag, so I'm just gonna carry everything loosely. But yeah, I think it just goes down. There's several things. I feel like I wish it was consistent across, even in our city. If it were consistent across the arenas in our city, that would be great. Whatever they're doing out there, I don't really care. But all of the venues that we would attend. And then also it'd be really great if they would consider just like all of the fan experiences. Like what if I had to carry an inhaler or like an EpiPen and I don't have room for any of that stuff? I have to carry it loosely. Anyway.
Yeah.
And
I think it's fair. Again, sure, it's safety, but there's also other things. You know how have you ever gone to like a comedy show where they're doing a recording for like Netflix or something, and then they give you the security pouches where you have to put your phone and everything in. And then those and you can't break into those or like do that. Like what if that was like a solution where you still had a bag or something that you carried around, but you couldn't access it until like later or something. I don't know. I just think that it's gotten ridiculous and things have gotten smaller and smaller. And every single time I look up the rules I'm going to a stadium, because it feels like it changes. And I'm like, I had a purse that I would take, and then I had a smaller purse, and then my smallest purse doesn't even work. And I'm like, I don't want to go around buying all these different things. But at a certain point, I like, hopefully that, I'm not on my period, or hopefully there's like summer times are actually even worse because I'm not guaranteed wearing a jacket, where I usually have sometimes pockets in jackets. But like if in summertime with a tank top and a shorts, like women's shorts, are you kidding me? It's not safe. Everything's sticking out. And then like what I'm walking around or sitting down, things are falling out of the pockets. So I'm with you on this beef. I don't know if you talked yourself back into being angry about it, but I think we should take a look, and I think there should be a women committee on board about. We should be
100%.
consulted, and we should have some consistency across stadiums because it's really freaking annoying. And yeah, I agree.
Confusing.
And confusing. We don't want to be confused. We're just silly little women with small brains. We can't be confused. No, we're just girls.
It's a girly pop.
Oh, we want to do
I'm
sports
just trying to
too.
go to the game.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to go to the game.
Let's go. Okay, so I'm going to wrap us up with our final topic because we're a little bit silly. And if you're listening today, then you're a little bit silly because it's Thanksgiving, which is, NFL Thanksgiving games are such I guess depending on your family, there's such a tradition thing. Some people, not at all. Football is not on. And like other people, football is always on. And there always seems to be an argument about maybe half the house is divided about watching the football game. And the other half is like, turn off the football. Do we really have to be watching it now? And the answer is yes.
Every weekend at my parents' house.
Yeah, that's fair. That's like most houses. But we're going into week 12 of the NFL. Or no, she just wrapped up. Week 12. Yeah, we just
week 13, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that's what it is. So we're week 13 of an 18-week season.
Jesus.
So we are getting close, friends. We're getting close before playoffs.
So we really have to up our fantasy team if we want to make the playoffs. Okay.
So in exciting fantasy football news for no one but me, I finally broke my 6-game losing streak that I was on. I was on 5-0 coming out the gates, and then I just got shit on for 6 weeks straight. And so I finally won, and now I'm like midway in the pack. 6-6 in fantasy, so I still have a chance at making playoffs, but we'll see. So I'm wondering how everyone's fantasy is going out there because it has been. I feel like every year with fantasy, that's why it's like fantasy and not real. It just like wild shit happens, like injuries happen, performance happens, crazy games happen, and that is kind of one of the joys of football. There was this kid. This last weekend that was like 10 or something, and he has like no voice, and it was Friday, and it's like, what happened to your voice? He's like, I was screaming at my fantasy football team, and we're like, it's only Saturday. It's like, it was a crazy game Thursday night for his players. So that's that was cute. But kind of in the playoff picture of what's going down with all the teams for the NFC side. The division leaders are the Detroit Lions. They're 1-game lead in the NFC North and got a 10-1 record.
Wow.
The Eagles are number 2. Philly Eagles 9-2. They have a 2.5-game lead in the NFC East. And then the Seattle Seahawks, which I was there.
It's a tight race.
That's a tight race, but they own the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Falcons and the Cardinals. So their win against Arizona was big for tiebreakers. So they're 6-5. But honestly, out of all the conferences, the Seahawks won. Like everyone is all like very similar records, but it's nice that they own the head-to-head tiebreaker over Falcons and Cardinals. But the Falcons are 1-game lead in the NFC South, and then the kind of wild card leading right now is like Minnesota Vikings are 9-2, and Green Bay Packers are 8-3, but they lost to the Lions and the Vikings, and the Washington Commanders are 7-5 and need to reverse their kind of downward slide that they've been having. So those are kind of that if you were to like today have the playoffs, that's kind of what it's looking like on I would look like kind of, they say the outside looking in, like kind of like maybe it will, maybe they won't, are the Arizona Cardinals. Their loss to the Seahawks this last week was pretty big and not a good way for them. And
womp womp for them.
Yeah,
sorry, not sorry.
Not sorry at all. The Tampa
Sorry.
Bay Buccaneers are 5-6, but they own the NFC record tiebreaker over the Rams. And then the Los Angeles Rams are 5-6 also, and they own the head-to-head tiebreaker over the 49ers. So that's what's kind of interesting is like why we say the tiebreakers is depending on the records. If you end with a similar record and then you beat that team, then that's, or you previously beat that team, or, you know, there's a couple different things for tiebreakers. That means that you're automatically bumped up even if you have the same record. The New York Giants are the worst team in the NFC with a 2-9. So that's
Rodgers deserves it. Sorry. I don't take it back for a second.
Ooh.
I've hit that man for years. Yeah.
Well, he's with the
think you're alone.
Jets.
You're not alone.
Sorry,
I
that
don't
was
think
just a
you're
really
alone.
just like a stream of consciousness.
Wait, but he's with the Jets.
Yeah, he's not with the Giants. That's
He's
why
not
I
with
was
the
Oh,
Giants.
fuck. I
confused.
thought you said the Jets.
New York Giants, another New York team. It's okay.
Well, sorry, Giants.
But I mean, you know, Jets aren't. I think they've won 3. I don't know their exact record off the top of my head, but
Great.
they're not great. So on the AFC side, the division leaders are obviously the Kansas City Chiefs with 10-1, and they're the reigning champs. Top of the conference. But the Buffalo Bills are 9-2, and if they can catch the Chiefs in the standings, they'll have the head-to-head tiebreaker. So if the Chiefs,
Wait, let's do it. I
so
hope
the
they
Chiefs
do.
the Chiefs have to like lose. but say the Buffalo Bills don't lose any.
Buffaloes.
The Buffaloes don't lose any more games, and the Chiefs, even if they only lose one more game,
Shit.
then the Buffalo Bills catch the Chiefs in the standings. Because they already beat
Ooh.
them.
Juicy.
Yeah, so
That
the
is a lot of pressure.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Just one pit.
The
Just
Pittsburgh
one.
Steelers
I knew
are
about it.
8-3. And then beating the Ravens was head to head was big. And then the Houston Texans, they're 7-5. They haven't been playing well, but they should just win the AFC South by default.
Really? That's how bad the AFC South is doing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we're
the
on
South.
top. We're on top in our
That's
division.
true.
Don't hate. Let it happen.
Wild cards for that is the Los Angeles Chargers. They're 7-3. The game tonight, which will have, by the time this came out, will have already happened. So that's a big game for them. Same with the Baltimore Ravens are 7-4. So tonight's game is huge. And then the Denver Broncos is 7-5, and they have led them to a 2-game lead in the wild card race, which is pretty great. And then on the outside looking in is Miami Dolphins. You know, 2 is more healthy, so they're kind of starting to play more like playoff contenders. It was funny that Miami Dolphins. Bless you.
Can you
Chelsea.
hear that? Damn,
Bless
I thought
I
it was
can,
on mute.
I can hear it, but we might not hear it in the edit, so you're fine. The Miami Dolphins coach went into the press conference holding his daughter and was like, I brought my kid with me, so hopefully you guys aren't as mean, which is kind of funny.
And then they said, how come you're such a good dad?
And he was like,
first
yeah,
time.
exactly, yeah. And then the Indianapolis Colts are 5-7. Catching the Texans in the AFC South will be a long shot for them. And then the Cincinnati Bengals are 4-7. Probably need to run the table to get to the playoffs, so meaning like they can't lose. And honestly, it's been
rough.
sad for Burrow because he's been playing some great football.
It's been really sad.
And he's just, he is in pretty little sad in the press conference this last week. So, yeah. And then the Cleveland Browns, they're 3-8. There's no way that Jameis Winston is going to be able to dig the Browns out of the hole that Deshaun Watson left them in. And then here we go. This is for you, Chelsea. The New York Jets, because they're in the AFC, are 3-8, and the Aaron Rodgers experience is trending towards disaster. It's
gorgeous. That's
Chelsea
Which
wrote
we
that
knew.
headline. She wrote that headline.
Low key, I work. No.
Yeah. So
know,
those are
that's
the
my
people
job.
that aren't, outside looking in, not really but that's kind of where we're at. And it's crazy how fast football season goes. If we're going into week 13. But are you all watching games on Thanksgiving? Or at least we watching the Beyonce halftime show in Houston? What do you think? What's happening?
Obviously, yes, for that. I thought she was doing the Christmas game. No, that's Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving.
No, she's doing Christmas.
Was it Christmas?
Oh, okay.
No, you're right.
I think
I'm
it's
wrong.
Christmas.
I was about to be like, fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I didn't catch any
and stuff.
games this week, but I've been tuning in just to kind of keep track of my players. Usually I get really mad anyways, but yeah, we'll probably be have games in the background just so that, you know, 'cause what else is there to put on, I feel. But it's wild how quickly the season does go. I feel like we were just talking about ramping up to the season. And I wonder if it's because like they play all their games on specific days. So it's not like I'm watching a game every day. It's just like you look at it by week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at it by week. So it feels like it's way more compressed. I mean, it is, but it just feels like it moves more quickly because like all the results come in at the end of that week and you can kind of get where their standings are, which I kind of appreciate just as a viewer. I'm like, okay, it's really exciting, but we're at the point of the year where it's getting really exciting because then people are getting knocked off. Yeah, knocked off of playoff contention, and then other teams are getting locked in and for sure for the playoffs. So that's really cool. Yeah. And our teams that we guesstimated, I feel like are doing. How are they doing?
Mine was my twin brother Joe.
He's struggling a little bit.
I am worried I cursed him.
My wild, silly, wild prediction of the Browns, which was like just literally not based on any real things. It's obviously not going to happen. Though I would like to see them in the season playing a lot gooder with.
Oh shit!
I hope to see them playing
gooder
than my grammar. With Jameson Winston coming in for Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun Watson, I forgot that we're not fans of him, so we didn't want to support him. But the Seahawks, you know, I had said like, they're in it right now. The fact that it's wild to me. Like
it's like stressful. I mean, I feel like cardiac hawks right now because every game. No, you like watch the games and you're like, okay, we're doing okay. And then we like totally just like pendulum swings the other way and we don't. And it's week to week. Like folks are fine. 1 week we play really well and the next week we don't. And I feel like it's just stressful to watch as a fan, but it's fun.
Yeah. Which feels pretty standard for Seahawks football. I was going to say, being honest.
The Seahawks experience. I mean, can you imagine being at the Super Bowl and then being one pass away from winning it and then losing?
Wow. You gotta bring that up right now.
Too soon.
I don't
Chelsea.
know. I'm sorry.
It wasn't a
I was
pass
really hungover
from
that day when I
winning
watched
it. It was a rush away. That was our mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's the NFL update. Keep an eye on your fantasy. Keep an eye on kind of the standings because we're getting there. But we'll you got any NFL questions too? For future pods, let us know.
Yeah. Well, and with that, I'm gonna wrap it up with the pod today. So we'd be thankful because it's Thanksgiving if you shared your thoughts on the playbook today by leaving a comment on our YouTube, IG, or TikTok at the Sport and Society Squad.
And don't forget to hit follow and subscribe to our show on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple, and turn on notifications so you can stay up to date on all the latest sports and society stories.
And please rate the pod. But in the meantime, stay sharp, stay sassy, and we'll catch you next time.